Cool. So I think probably because we've talked so much about kind of established freelancers, probably a pretty important thing, especially from our point of view being UK based. You know, as Rich said, we're a very heavy contract market at the moment, with probably now and over the next couple of years more contractors looking to move into a more kind of independent freelancing route. I think a great question to ask you would be, what would be your kind of advice for somebody that's hoping to start to move into the whole kind of freelance world and start kind of anew without having done anything really like it before?
Yeah, so we can reduce so how do you get started as a freelancer? I think we can reduce this to 3 variables: outcomes, people, pipeline. Outcomes, by far the most important thing, is going to be what specific outcomes can you deliver? And if you were an employee, say for 5 years before this, or a contractor, think about what is that tangible, deliverable, at what cost and what time can you get it to a client? So understanding what your outcomes are so critical. If you're an employee, what I usually like to say is look at your resume. And instead of just looking at sort of the generic bulletins, think about the exact things that you did. One good example, there's a freelancer in the US named Jay, and he's like the best presentation designer literally in the world, working with most of the leadership teams and most of the Fortune 100s. He wasn't a presentation designer when he was sitting in corporate. He was actually a chief of staff and a director of emerging markets. But he realized that his really good skill that people loved was he was an incredible presentation designer, and more than just sort of the pixels, but the actual strategy behind it. And so his outcome was, I'm going to be the best presentation designer, and I can do it for $5,000 for 15 slides if it's external, and $3,000 for whatever if it's internal. But so pick out your outcomes. Second thing is people. The leading source of jobs is not going out and sending 100 emails or being a quote unquote thought leader and posting on LinkedIn every single day. The leading source of jobs is your existing clients and your fellow freelancers, because most good freelancers are rejecting a sizable amount of projects a month. And if you can get their trust, you're going to be having jobs from them. And so that's the second thing, is really align on the people that you are going to need to grow your career. No different than being in person, right? I mean, if you were in person in office, what'd you have to do? You had to go find a director or a GM to become your sponsor. Yeah. Apply that with freelancing. Go find a freelancer that's the same as you, but 10 years better or 10 years making more money. And same thing, have them be your mentor or sponsor. So outcomes, people. The third thing is pipeline. Pipeline is literally just a numbers game of how many emails do you have to send to close that client, or how many proposals do you have to send out to close that client. Now, there's always this common thing in sales, right? Where it's like, do you increase frequency or you increase quality to decrease or increase conversion? I don't know. I don't know. Everyone has a unique challenge in this. But with that said, take your outcomes, figure out your people, and then just set pipeline numbers. So maybe this week you're going to send 15 emails, or you're going to send 5 proposals, whatever it is. Those 3 things are generally the things that when you wake up, you should be thinking about. And literally when I started my career, I'll never forget, this is what my manager had told me, and I still hold to this day, is I have a little sticky note on my computer and it has my 3 priorities. Yeah. And every time I'm wondering sort of what should I be working on, I just look at those priorities and say, oh, what is in alignment with that? And every time I have a decision, I look at that. So if you're a freelancer, your outcomes, your people, your pipeline, those are the 3 most important things for you.
That's really good feedback. Actually, I love that. I think I love what you said about the outcomes, because I think a lot of, like, even experienced people, because before I started really taking this idea forward, I thought, right, I need to try being a freelancer on a side gig. And I was thinking, well, I was a sales director, right? So I was thinking, well, what are my outcomes, right? And my outcomes are really around coaching in terms of when people were doing large multi-million-pound deals, right? And that's what I started doing. I started coaching people on what they were doing when they were trying to like scope out big pieces of work, and then move that from a scoping exercise right through to signing T's and C's, legal, procurement, to delivery. And that's what I've noticed. That's my outcomes, and that's where I started trying that out. So I think that's a really, but I'd never thought about it that way. So I think that's a really great way.
Like, Rich, you could probably sell me right now if you built our CRM system for $2,000. Even though I know how to do that, I'd be like, hell, I don't want to do that. And you're probably better at it. So yeah.
Well, you said the last one was pipeline, so I'll send you a proposal after.
You are a good sales guy. So I know you're CEO.
Exactly. Harvey, I'm conscious of time.
Yeah.
Do you want to finish us off with one last question? Because Matt needs to go and do some 5th of July parties, right?
Can I please say my
Right.
joke? Can I please say my joke though? This is the day after 4th of July. All my American friends are hammered on boats right now. And I am the idiot American that's saying, let me give my time to the UK. At least I'm not saying let me give my time to the British, but they all are messing with me. So now when I go see them later today, yeah, I might get egged for this. But hey, I came from Boston. It's the source of the Boston Tea Party. So maybe I have that in my pen.
You've got that in your, you can blip that out at the last minute. Right, well, conscious of time then, we'll make sure to kind of wrap up. I think a good way to end, and probably a good question from we're both kind of working startup wise in the kind of freelance space. So in your opinion, what makes a really good talent platform in the kind of freelancing world?
Ooh, okay.
It's a good one. That's a good last question, Harvey. I like that.
Very. I have a feeling Rich was the one that put that question in. Kidding. Hey, Rich, that'll be a $1,000 outcome. It says $1,000.
I like it.
No, I think, and let me bring it to you, not only a good talent platform, but a full talent solution in this space. If you can enable freelancers, and we can call them independent businesses, we can call them experts. If you can accelerate their existing journey, and the two ways to do that is to help them make more or save more time. If you can help accelerate what they're already doing, then you are making an immense impact. And the reason I say that is because there's really nothing necessarily new that we need. I really think we have enough stuff for the next 5 to 10 years. But nothing has been built specifically for freelancers. And the reason there's been plenty of companies that say they have. There's plenty of there's probably plenty of management solutions, but there's a very, very unique thing in our industry that freelancers, they're not small businesses. Although they look and operate like small businesses, they have very different sort of ways that they create value. And they also don't necessarily follow the typical software sort of VC playbook in terms of what's best for them. So there's this problem that we have as an industry where there's been lots of value created in the freelance economy, but very little value created for the freelancers themselves. And part of the problem is that it's easier to create a business that, what word do we use that's good in terms of it's not hurting freelancers, but you're building for the freelance economy, but you're really making money off the clients. So the things that you care about inevitably are the clients themselves. And so if you can build something that accelerates the journey of a freelancer, that is the gold. Now, where this gets tough is there might not be one business. There might be 8 different sort of types of businesses that we can build for these freelancers. And one might just be payment. One just might be a CRM solution. One might just be an insurance policy. One might just be for designers building a better design brief or something like that. So there's actually numerous types of businesses that we don't know of yet that might be their own type of market that are literally just for freelancers. But core principle is if you can build something that is freelancer first, then you're going to have significant value. And let me add one more caveat though, because we sit here as entrepreneurs. I don't know, well, I sort of know, it might be really tough to actually make money off freelancers. And what I mean by that is it might be really hard to have a subscription service that is scalable, that a freelancer pays $7 to $70 a month for. And that might hinder you from being able to actually build a venture-backed business for freelancers. So it might require you figure out a new model or you bootstrap or whatever it is. But back to the core principle, if you can actually build something freelancer first, it might not be today, but in the next 10 years, as freelancers have more purchasing power and have more power in this industry, that's going to be the gold of what moves the needle forward for you and the freelance economy.
Yeah, it's a really interesting way of looking at it, and I totally agree. I think we've been back and forth on all of these points, and I think one of the keys will be a lot of the platforms actually collaborating a little bit, and because I don't think anybody has the one answer. I think we've developed some things that we think are really cool and really answer those questions, but then there's some other ones that actually solve some of the other questions. And I think it's been able to have a kind of arsenal and have various things you can choose when you need it. so that freelancer can use that as they need it, because to solve the different challenges they have. And at the end of the day, they want to be more productive, they want to do more work, earn more money, and have a good work, like, you know, good balance of their life, right? That's the holy grail, right? Perfect. Well, look, Matt, we won't take any more time. You said since the last time we spoke, I have read your book and I love it.
Oh
So,
my God, you got it. Oh my God. Wait, this is the real question. Open it up. Do you see any notes? That's how you really know.
Well, the last bit I was really looking at, we have a new resume. That was a bit I've earmarked that I was wanting to look at and come back to. So yeah,
nice.
I don't write on my books because I tend to, as Harvey, you know, most of my team know, I give my books, once I've read them, I always give them away. I never keep them.
I'm getting it next, apparently. I'm getting the Human Cloud next.
You're getting this next. So
you know the excuse you can use, Rich? If next time you can just be like, but I treasure your book too much. Why would I want to mess it up and write all over?
That's true. I'll buy another one. But look, Matt, thank you again. We could obviously catch up soon to discuss again more of how we can work together. But in the meantime, again, enjoy the boat parties if you choose to do that. And thank you for your time again. As always, some absolute gold in there.
Yep.
Awesome. All right, y'all. No, this is first of many collaborations, and we got to answer those other 4 questions. So we can answer them via email or we'll figure it out. But no, it's exciting what you all are doing, and it's what the industry needs. And let's keep it going and let's push freelancers forward.